Hey guys, what's up, and welcome back to another gaming podcast with Jay Bussin and myself. Today is episode 10 of the further known as Jay calls it season 2 that we've worked on here. Technically our 20th episode total.
Woo.
We found a way to survive 20 episodes, so you know. However,
only got 7 cease and desists. It's been pretty good.
Right. Only a few. I think we only had 8 injuries at work, maybe, while we were doing this.
Yeah, and only 2 angry mobs. So
yeah, but we're not going to get into that. They're kind of the instigators on that one. But anyway, today is the special end of season 2. At the end of this episode, we will be taking a little bit of a break to where we won't have a podcast next week. I'm not sure how long the break is going to be. We do have a hurricane that could possibly hit either of us, and we may cease to exist after this. So.
The world as we know it may stop happening, but
right?
It is what it is.
It's really funny when I live on the bottom part of North America, and Jay lives on the pretty much top northeast part near about,
yep.
And this thing could possibly hit either of us.
Yep, Hurricane Irma coming through,
which is really humorous. And not at the same time. It's kind of also worrisome, but hopefully we will both be all right and continue doing podcasts for you. Wishful thinking, but we are going to take a little bit of a break just to give ourselves a breather and kind of gather ourselves and see what y'all like as usual, kind of like we did last time, and then proceed.
Let me clarify.
Go ahead.
Matt's the one who wants the break. I'm good to keep going. So instead of recording these podcasts, I'm probably just going to be streaming a little bit more. So if you still want to hear my dumb voice, and Matt joins me on there sometimes, twitch.tv/Chase. Done. Just putting that out there.
This is technically true. Just a combination of things. I know I have a big plate coming up because I'm touring with a Christian praise and worship band that... for those who don't know, I'm typically a contract guitar player. So every now and then a band will just hit me up and say, hey, we need this kind of guitar for 1 weekend, 2 weekends, or whenever they don't have a player or they just need help for big shows. So they'll find a way to call me from someone they know. So that's what I'll be doing. So I'm going to be a little booked for the next couple of weeks, which is why it was convenient to go ahead and do this break. For me, at least. Like Jay said, we could have kept going, but, is what it is. So I'll take the fall for that one.
It's all right. Well, I mean, we're still around. We're just not... There just won't be podcasts for a few days.
Oh, yeah. We'll be doing stuff. I'm sure I'll try to join Jay on a stream or something. But anywho, let's actually try to talk about some stuff. So we have just a plethora of things to talk about, just like we did in the last... 10th episode special. We're not really going to have a whole lot of structure here. We're just going to kind of freeform talk. I'm not going to...
Not that we've had any structure this season.
We've had less. First season was way more structured.
I think I've liked season 2 better than season 1.
There's differences. It's completely different. But more importantly than no structure, it's also not going to have any editing whatsoever. So there might be more pauses than normal. There might be more ums than normal. There might be more Jay clacking his keyboard than normal because it seems to happen a lot on his end.
Well, I like to be up to date. If you talk about something and you don't know what that is, I'm just like,
Yep. I just want to point that out. Like, you may never hear it, and that's because I have to sit there and just excruciatingly painfully just go through each little thing. Like, okay, gosh, there's like 3 milliseconds of keyboard taps here I have to go find and get rid of. But it's fun nonetheless. So we have a bunch of things that some of you kind of gave us some ideas to talk about on the comments and on some Discord threads and a variety of different things that we're going to talk about. And then we might talk about random things such as hobbits and Groot. And I don't know. There's no telling where we might go.
Is baby Groot better than adult Groot? Like, comment, and subscribe to find out.
Excellent question. And we'll tell you at the end of the episode. So let's just start with one of the things that, Jay was nice enough to kind of gather a whole bunch of info from a bunch of different sources and put it into a nice little paragraph here on our Discord so I can have some notes to go off of. Let's go off of Riku's, none other than Miss Canadian Riku here. asking the favorite game played so far this year and why.
I'm going to go ahead and amend that for you, Matt. What's the favorite game you've played so far this year, and why is it Horizon Zero Dawn?
Okay. Well, I guess we should reiterate on this question. I just assumed that the question was kind of based off of a game that also came out this year. I guess it didn't say that, but that's what I was hearing when
Yeah, whatever. It is what it is. Take it.
That's what I was hearing. I mean, otherwise, if it was just any game I've played, then, I'd still have to go with Dark Souls or Bloodborne because I play them all the time. And the obvious reasons there, I feel like everyone knows by this point.
Speaking of which, when this episode comes out, this deal might still be going on the PlayStation Plus store. If you have PS Plus, but Bloodborne is currently $8.
Ooh,
it's
boy.
a steal.
That's an amazing game for $8. But if it is going to be a game that came out this year, it would definitely be Horizon Zero Dawn so far. And I mean, anyone that's played it would pretty much know and agree. Like, you wouldn't really need a whole lot of explanation. It's a fantastic game. The combat system is very fluid. It's not hard. Like, pretty much as soon as you start playing it, you can really get into the zone pretty quick. The storyline is amazing. Very unique storyline, which is really hard to do these days.
Does it have... I'm going to ask you a couple questions about this.
Mm-hmm.
Regarding the story, is it kind of more like Fallout, where like you can kind of change the path of the story a little bit, or you're just like along for the ride, but it's still a really well-written story?
Along for the ride, but still a very well-written story.
Okay, I was just curious.
There are a plethora of random NPCs and stuff that can intertwine into said story.
Like side quests?
Yeah. But as far as just the main stuff, no, it's just is what it is, but it's an amazing story.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I just wanted to know what kind of game we were looking at here.
Yeah, you're not going to have...
I still haven't played it.
Yeah,
so.
You're not going to have multiple endings or anything like that.
That's cool. I mean, you don't need that by any stretch of the imagination. I was just curious.
And it just had a lot of uniqueness in a bunch of different areas, not just from obviously being, like you're essentially like a Neanderthal who's fighting a robot dinosaur with a bow and arrow. So that by itself is already like, what? The weapon choices, I don't think I've ever played a game that I recall to where like your main weapon is always the bow, but even when you're like up close and personal.
So when you're up close and personal, do you use the bow to like hit people, like it's a stick or something like that, or do you like stab people with arrows?
Typically you still like there's so many small like parkour mechanics where you can jump and slide and stuff, and you can do that. Like one unlock you can do is you can do a power slide, kind of like if you've ever played Call of Duty where it like slides real far.
Yeah.
But you could also click a button to where it slows down time while you're sliding to where you can get a clear aimed shot in while you're doing that. So even though you're close, it doesn't hinder you from still shooting them with a bow. So a lot of times you still just shoot the bow as normal. It's just you just use a lot of different features that the game has to change the scenario. Not to mention they have, 15 different types of arrows, if not more than that.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, you have, your normal ones, you have your poison ones, you have your EMP arrows, you have like little explosion arrows, there's a bunch of different things. And then with all of them, you can stack to where it shoots 1, 2, or 3 at a time if you want to. It's really neat. I love the reload system, or the really the ammo system in general, because you constantly pick up items just from the world and the environment. And
scavenging.
Yeah, and in the arrow hub, like where, like if they're, for instance, you can just go to poison arrow, and it has on the poison arrow little symbol, it has the pretty much the requirements for what it takes to make a poison arrow. And if you have it, all you have to do is go to it and then hold down a button, and it'll just use what you have and just automatically replenish them. So
kind of like The Last of Us.
Yep. So it's just in this little hub thing that makes it real quick, real simple to do.
So you don't have to like go find an arrow crafting station.
Yep.
That's good. That's big, especially in an open world game. That's kind of what bugged me a little bit about Skyrim, and I realize Skyrim is like a 10-year-old, 11-year-old game at this point. Maybe not quite that much, but it's an old game. It's, you know, if you run out of arrows, like I played as an archer my first playthrough, and every time I'd run out of arrows, I'd either have to go buy more, or I'd have to go to, you know, a town or wherever that has a forge or something like that and make arrows. And it kind of takes you out of it a little bit because, I mean, people have been making arrows in the field on the fly for centuries, you know?
Right.
And it doesn't seem like a far stretch to just be able to craft arrows in the field. And in an open world game, I think that's huge.
Definitely. And it makes more sense just to, like, I mean, people in that scenario would be crafting them on the fly.
Yeah, especially if you're nomads, which she is, I believe.
Right. But that's my answer on that one, and or why I think that it just has a lot going for it. I know it's an exclusive, so that kind of sucks if you don't have that console. But I do have that console, and that is a game I played this year, and it came out this year, so that would be my answer for that one.
There you go.
I pretty much have a good idea of what Jay's is going to be, but just for sake of, I'll say, what is your answer, Jay?
I always hate this question, to be honest with you. A lot of my youth group kids always ask me, like, hey, what's your favorite video game? And I'm like,
that's tough.
Oh man, I don't know, dude. Like if you ask me what my favorite 3D platformer is, I'm probably gonna say Banjo-Tooie. If you ask me what my favorite, you know, RPG is, like JRPG, I'm probably gonna say Final Fantasy VII, and that's a very different game from Banjo-Tooie. And you know, as far as the game I spent the most hours playing so far this year, Breath of the Wild. And if I had to give an answer to that question, I'm probably going to say Breath of the Wild. It's definitely my favorite action-adventure RPG-ish game of all time. And it's probably my game of the year. We'll talk more about game of the year when it comes closer to game of the year time. We're only in September, but...
Right.
But, like, I don't know, like, I've already talked a ton about Breath of the Wild. I feel like I don't need to talk about it too much. The only thing I really wish I could do with Breath of the Wild is forget it so that I could experience it for the first time again.
That's always that's when you know you have a good game.
Yeah, like, I could probably go through and do a second playthrough and have a ton of fun doing it, but, like, you won't have that sense of, like, I wonder what's over this cliff. Like, what's over here? Like, look at these things I'm exploring. How do you fight this enemy? Like, what? Like, all that first time discovering things was such a huge part of this game, and it left an impression on me, unlike any other video game, I think. And I wish I could feel that again. You know, it's kind of like when it felt the same way as when The Force Awakens came out. I was sitting in the movie theater. Just like, you know, watching the ads and the previews and all that stuff, and then all of a sudden, you know, the generic Star Wars text appears on the screen with the theme song and whatever, and I was like, this is a brand new one. Mm-hmm. And it hit me like really hard. I was like, I've heard this song and seen this setup dozens of times, because I've seen the other Star Wars movies over and over and over again, and I was like, but I'm about to experience Star Wars again for the first time. And that's just like, it was like huge. I was like, wow, that's really weird and awesome. And it was that way with Zelda. And I don't know, I'll never have that moment again with Breath of the Wild. So you just kind of wait with bated breath for the next Zelda game to come out. But with a game as big as Breath of the Wild is, you know, you're looking at probably about a 5-year development cycle. So it's going to be a while.
I can't remember if I've told you this story or not, but it would be so I got slightly annoyed with by the time it was my chance to watch Force Awakens in theaters, because on the opening weekend, at the time I had worked for Toyota.
I remember this.
Yeah, at the time I worked for Toyota, and they were going to put a Tacoma out there, which is a truck, and they were going to deck it out as a stormtrooper, so they're going to have it white and tinted windows and the Imperial symbol on the back of it. So it was really sharp looking, and it was really cool. And someone actually bought it that night with cash, by the way, so that was like crazy night.
Did you get the commission off of that?
Not me, because no one technically sold it. It was just Toyota putting it out there. But I did get paid to be out there in a Kylo Ren costume per hour, and they supplied the costume and the life. So they literally gave me the company card, and I was like, hey, get some stuff. I was like, okay. And I tried to at first be like, hey, this is, here's something cheap. And I was like, no, like, don't worry about cheap. You go find something that's good and get it.
We're Toyota. We got it.
I was like, okay. And I thought that I was going to have to give that stuff back afterwards. And then I was like, all right, so what do you want me to do with it after the thing was over? And they're like, oh, you just keep it. So I was like, what? This was like $500 to $700 worth of, like, I had a custom tailored Kylo Ren costume, a $200 lightsaber. Like, this was ridiculous.
Yeah, like not the Walmart pop and make sound lightsabers, like the real deal.
Right. Anyway, so that was really cool. But needless to say, that weekend was doing that the entire time. As me and another guy as a stormtrooper. So we were out and about at the theater taking pictures with, I don't even have an idea of how many pictures we took with people. So obviously we didn't get to see the movie because we were too busy doing that.
Right.
And every, I don't know, probably every fifth or sixth person that would come outside after they had seen the movie would come up to me and be like, why did you kill your father? And I was like, thanks, guys. Thanks.
Appreciate it.
And I would always just like put my head down. I was like, ugh.
But you can't because you're on the clock and you're just like, you have to be in character and just be like, I'm an evil prick, rah.
Right. Well, I mean, we didn't really do a whole lot of that. We were just kind of just like waving at people. Like we weren't being like, trying to act like the character or anything. We were just taking pictures with people and just having fun.
That's cool.
It was a really good time, but that was a funny thing because, Jay talked about your first experience, and by the time that came around, I was like, all right, when am I going to kill my dad? Here we go.
Well, the end of right at the beginning of the third arc,
Right. So I was...
It's when it always happens.
The whole time, I'm just sitting here waiting, like, well, this is not going to be surprising at all. Great. But other than that, man, I really enjoyed that. I thought that was a great movie. But won't get too far into that because it's getting off topic.
Right.
Another question that someone threw us by another Canadian of all people. They just keep coming back.
I guess that's our demographic.
For whatever reason, even though we constantly make fun of them. So it's kind of funny how that works. And this will probably be a question more geared towards Jay. But it's pretty much a overall consensus of the Nintendo Switch of has it lived up to its expectations, has it exceeded those expectations, or has it underperformed on those expectations?
Different areas, as far as like if you look at sales, everyone loves to, all the Nintendo fanboys love to be like, oh, the Switch sold more consoles this month than the PS4 and the Xbox One combined. It's like, well, yeah, but the PS4 and the Xbox One have been out for years.
Right.
No one's really buying them anymore.
That's not really a...
The Switch is brand new. That's not a feasible argument you can make. It's like, yes, it's technically true, but that's like a really crappy way to present that statistic. What you do want to look at is that the Switch is still in high demand. It's still hard to find, whereas to where the Wii U came out, like opening weekend, you could walk into Best Buy and just pick one up. It wasn't a good console. It wasn't a supported console. It kind of was the beginning of its life. It was supported because all the companies that had always worked with, Nintendo, like EA and Ubisoft and all them, were like, yeah, we're going to continue to work with Nintendo. And then they quickly figured out, oh, no one's buying these games on the Nintendo console. So they stopped making them for them. But which kind of leads us into the third-party support question. Current amount of third-party support is right about where you'd expect it to be at this point, because, again, the companies were like, all right, do we want to work with Nintendo again? So EA is like, all right, have FIFA. We'll put FIFA on your console. It's like Madden just came out, but Madden's not on the Switch yet. But FIFA is, and so I'm hoping to... that it'll do well and that those companies will continue to support the Nintendo Switch, the third party, all that stuff. But
so let's break this down into two things specifically. So where would be, just pick one. It doesn't matter. It'd have to be like the most of this category, but just pick one area that you personally would say the Switch exceeded your expectations on.
The Switch exceeded my expectations on in how much I want to play it. There are like, if a game, I think I went on record with this back like in episode 4 or something like that, but if a game comes out for multiple platforms, I'm more liable to buy it for the Switch. because, you know, you're not the best example to be talking to because you literally pack up your PS4 every time you go out of town. But for the most part, most people don't do that.
Right. I actually have a bag that has a spare PS4 power cable and HDMI cable that like it just stays in the bag. So all I have to do is just unplug it and put it in the bag and go.
My goodness. But like if you look at the Switch, I mean, it's smaller than an iPad. You just grab it, put it in your laptop case, and you're good to go. You know. And I take it with me more often than I thought I would. I mean, I went to church on Sunday and then went over my in-laws, and I brought it with me and played Mario Raving Rabbids, which we did talk about a couple weeks ago. And it's a good game, by the way. Just real quick. It's Grant Kirkhope's music is above and beyond what I expected it to be. It's amazing. The game is silly and it's fun. It's not annoyingly silly. I kind of, you know, thought the Rabbids might bug me, but it's not annoyingly silly. The comedy's in it good. It plays well, but you do kind of get dry of it after. Like, you can't marathon this game.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Did I see correctly? They had like a thing of Luigi dabbing at some point in time.
Yes, that is a thing.
That's awesome. I
Yep,
approve.
Luigi dabs, Rabbid Peach takes selfies. It's fun. It's good humor. It's a good time.
That's awesome. I'm glad because that's what I was hoping for that game, just for it to be, you know, real comical and just lighthearted kind of thing, just to have a good time.
But like, you know, and then going back to it, like Yooka-Laylee, you know, another Grant Kirkhope production, came out, you know, for the PC X months ago, and the Xbox One and the PS4 as well. And I have it for the PC, and I like it for the PC, but honestly, when it comes out for the Switch, I'm probably going to get it again for the Switch, because I want to be able to,
Take it on the
you
go.
know, be playing it, and like, even like, just like going to a different room in my house, never mind like traveling, but like, yeah, traveling too.
Okay, all of that being said, now where would be one area specifically that you think the Switch did the opposite and it underperformed for where you thought it might?
This is kind of splitting hairs, and there's no better way they really could have done it. But like, the amount of games available for the first few months. Now every console is like this. I mean, when the Xbox first came out, the Xbox One, there was what? Forza, Rise Son of Rome, and Sunset Overdrive, and probably a Call of Duty. And, like, that was it for like the first 2 months. Like, that was it.
The PS4 is probably just as bad when it came out.
Yeah, like every console is pretty bare bones when it first comes out. So this is really not really anything to complain on. But because it came out like mid-cycle, like, you know, Xbox has been out for so long, PS4 has been out for so long, and so then you have Nintendo's new console, and there's all these games for the PS4 and all these games for the Xbox One, and then like 3 games for the Switch. It's like, okay. But I feel like we're now at a point where buying a Switch is a good investment. When it first came out on launch, like, unless you were really, really into Breath of the Wild, or you really wanted to play Bomberman for some weird reason, it probably wasn't worth it, but I feel like now it is. You know, I mean, you have Splatoon 2, you have Mario Raving Rabbids, you have Breath of the Wild, you have, you know, ARMS, you've got Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which you also have on the Wii U, so that's a bad example. But like, and there's, you know, all these other games, and again, the portability of it, like Cave Story is on this, which is a fantastic game if you've never played it before. One of my favorite indie games. It's just like there's titles for the Switch, and they're still coming, and they will still come for years to come. But I think now is a good time to buy it. If you haven't, you can probably get a bundle.
Speaking of indie games, since you just kind of segued into that,
Sure.
the one of the next questions on there, by yet another. Well, actually, yeah, isn't he Canadian, or am I thinking somebody else? Where's RDS from?
He's in America, but at the border.
At the border. So close enough, you know. But his question is, what is your favorite indie game / series and or good ones you were looking forward to? Now, Jay's probably going to have a lot more backlog than I would in this category. I
should have made a list because I'm going to forget some.
I tend to not play a ton of indie games. And there's a lot of different reasons for that. The biggest problem is probably that I wear too many hats. And Jay can tell you because he knows me a little more, but I have a ton of hobbies outside of gaming that I'm just as passionate about as I am gaming.
Right.
So when I get to actual games I want to play, I kind of reserve it for ones that are going to make a really big impact, ones that are not going to be short, which that eliminates a good bit of indie games because a lot of them typically are shorter because, they don't have a lot of funding and a variety of other things. Not to say that there aren't long indie games, but it eliminates a lot of them, and, it just kind of is what it is.
And not to say that short is bad.
Correct. It's not. It's just mostly for my time and kind of how my schedule is. Because if you didn't know, I do this. Me and Jay are probably about the same on sports. We're just about as passionate. I go to football games all the time if I can, baseball games all the time if I can. I'm a studio engineer, so I have a ton of work that I do for musicians around here, doing artists that want to record albums, and then I'm a contract guitar player, so I travel to play guitar. So I have a lot of hats that I wear in terms of hobbies and stuff that I do. So I tend to not play a whole lot of them, but that doesn't mean I don't play any. And that being said, one of my favorites, and I will probably go ahead and say it is my favorite right now, is a game called West of Loathing. And that game just makes me freaking laugh my head off every time I even look at it. I first saw it, I think it was Markiplier who was playing it. And man, he probably made it, I don't know, 5 seconds into the game, and I was already near about in tears laughing.
Nice.
I mean, the game has, just to give an example, because I know Jay, we were talking earlier, and he said he had never heard of it. The game has a mode, and keep in mind, you're just stick figures, right? So there's not like detailed drawings of anything. It's just like very silly looking, like stick people. And it has a mode you can unlock called like Crazy Walk or Random Walk, to where now every time you walk, it's just going to do something different and like ridiculous. Like at some point, it's crab walking. One point is doing cartwheels, like just for your movement.
Nice.
Just doing it. And there was one time where he had a lamp in a cave and he started moving and he put the lamp down and then rode it like a scooter. Like somehow the lamp was just driving around the cave.
So this game might sound like something I'd be interested in. Where can I find it and for how much, do you know?
Steam. I'm pretty sure it's a PC game. Given what it is, I do not know the price offhand if you want to look it up real quick, but
What's the name of it?
West of Loathing.
West of Loathing.
I cannot imagine it being overly expensive. I don't want to put my words in my mouth.
It is currently $10.99 US.
So that's, to me, given what I've seen of the game so far, that's not bad. Because it's not, heck, I don't know. I think he's like at episode 14 or something, and he does hour-long episodes. So, it's not a short game.
Jeez, they've got like RPG elements to it.
Yep. It's there's no good way to explain this game. There's really not. Like, just go look at someone doing a Let's Play of it if you want to know a little bit about it. And there's
Or just pick it up and experience it for yourself and have no idea what you're getting into, which is more likely what I will do.
I'll buy it for Jay point. If he wants, like, if he doesn't want to buy it, like, I will buy it and want you to stream it or something, because that game is freaking hilarious.
I mean, that's my rule right now. I'm still at the point where if you buy me a game, I'll generally stream it, so.
Right. Which you still have several games to catch up on in that case.
I'm working on it.
Getting there. But that would be
there are some that people have bought me that I'm just like, nah, why? Like, oh shoot, what was that game that I did the fake Let's Play of for April Fools?
I remember that.
What was that called?
Something with chickens, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm trying to find it on my list right here.
But while you're also doing that, go ahead and be thinking of
Foul Space. Thanks, RDS. It's literally a 25-cent game. Gosh, indie games, I have way too many that I like. Cave Story's fantastic, smooth as butter, plays really well. And then there's like To the Moon is really good. One of my all-time favorites will always be That Dragon Cancer. It's not really a video game so much as it is a graphic novel, but it's just like, I know the guy who made it kind of, and it just meant a lot. It was a labor of love. Stardew Valley, Shovel Knight, Friggin'
Shovel Knight's a good one.
Ukulele is technically, I believe, an indie game because Platonic Games isn't like a huge studio; they're an indie studio. So
Would you count Battle Block Theater in this category?
Behemoth, I don't know. They're 3 or 4 games. I guess they're technically an indie developer. Yeah,
Because I mean, if so, that would definitely be on up there.
yeah,
I don't know. They just make me laugh. I could watch those any day of the week.
yeah. No, Behemoth always they spit out really good games. You know, Castle Crashers. Oh, excuse me, Alien Hominid. Oh gosh, I'm all gassy because I've been drinking root beer. Battle Block Theater, and they came out with a 4th one that's not as good, but yeah, they make good games. They're good. There's a lot of good indie games out there, and then ones we're looking forward to. I don't keep up on the indie stream too much because there's just so much to pay attention to. There's so many indie developers out there. But A Hat in Time is coming out, and I've kind of like I got sick of hearing about Hat in Time for a while because they don't shut up about their game. And it's like, even though I really like the game and I really want it to be good, it's like when every day they're like, hey, we're making this video game. Hey, we're making this video game. Hey, we're making this video game for the last, like, I don't know, 2 or 3 years. And I'm not exaggerating that. They literally tweet daily about their video game. And I just kind of got sick of hearing about it for a while. But, no, I mean, and now it's finally coming out. It's coming out in a month. October 6th, I think it is, or something like that. Or 14th or something. Early October. So it's like in a month it'll be out. It'll be exciting to finally get hands on it. I'll probably wait till it drops for the Switch, if it does. And if not, then I'll pick it up for PC or something. But it looks like a really good game, and I can't wait to play it. But there's probably a ton of other indie games out there that I don't know about that are also really good games. So, I don't know. What are some of your favorites, everyone else?
Yeah, just put in the comments, and that always gives us a lot of good things to go off of. Not only for just gaming's sake, but for topics possibly later. So a few things that Jay actually kind of fathomed for current topics. And I'm going to combine this into one. I'm going to let Jay answer first.
Okay.
So what are some games that you have been playing lately, first of all? And then secondly, at the end of that one, what would be the worst game you've played so far this year? Now, I know me and Jay talked about this a little earlier, and I think we're on the same page. So we don't really think either of us have played a bad game this year per se. So the question is just more going to be, of the games you've played, what has been the weakest?
Yeah.
It'd be the better way to word that.
So I have this horrible thing where I get a game, I start a game, I don't finish the game. And that's why I have like those finishing streams like once or twice a year. Like I gotta finish Crash Bandicoot. I gotta finish Apollo Justice. I have to finish the Splatoon 2 campaign mode. I'm almost done with it. I just bought Mario Rabbids, so that's put other things on a back seat for a while now. And so there's a lot of games that I've gotten that I haven't finished.
You're a long ways out on Dark Souls.
Yeah, Dark Souls is another one. Holy cow. But, you know, it comes down to, like, what I'm in the mood for, what I have time to play. Like, if I, like, throw dinner in the oven and have, like, 10 or 20 minutes before it comes out, I'll just sit at my computer and do that for 20 minutes. No, I'll sit at my computer. I'm sorry, that was gross. I'll sit at my computer and I'll play, like, PUBG, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, or PUBG, some people call it. I just call it PUBG. Which is a really, really fun game for those of you who don't know. You're basically, you know, on an airplane and you have to jump and parachute down somewhere on this 8 kilometer by 8 kilometer island and find various guns and other supplies and be the last man standing. And the playable area keeps shrinking, so it kind of forces players closer together as the game goes on. It's a ton of fun. It's wicked hard if you're not the best at those kinds of games, and also my PC can't run it perfectly, so it is a little laggy for me sometimes. I feel like I'd be better if it was smoother, but it's a lot of fun. I enjoy it a lot. That's a game I've definitely been playing a lot of. Another game I've been playing a lot of lately, and this is probably going to take the cake for quote unquote worst game I've played, is A Link to the Past Randomizer, which is a ton of fun, and I love it. But because it's completely random, sometimes it just gives you these awful, awful seeds that you just have to deal with, like the one I got last night, where I needed the Master Sword to progress, but 2 out of the 4 sword upgrades were in the final dungeon that you can't get to until you beat the rest of the game. and the other one that was available to me meant that I had to beat all the other dungeons first and get the pendants and pull the Master Sword out of the slot in the forest. It was actually where it belongs. So basically what the randomizer does is it takes all the items in the game and shuffles them into random locations. And it's a lot of fun. It's challenging. It makes you think about the game. You have to kind of know A Link to the Past before you play it. But it's, I don't know, I like it a lot. Me and a lot of people, quite frankly, have been diving into it. Fraser's really, really good at it, Zeronium. He's probably the best out of our group of friends. RDS has been playing it a lot. Boog just got into it. And if you're like, hey, I like A Link to the Past and I want to give this a shot, how do I do this? Well, it's a free program. To get it, you just need a Super Nintendo emulator, and I recommend SNES 9X because that properly emulates lag. So if you're going to join us for races, which we will be doing in the future, the near future, we're going to ask that you play on that. Otherwise, you'll have an unfair advantage. And then you just need a proper ROM of A Link to the Past Japanese version 1.0. And Fraser was kind enough to kind of bundle everything together into a little folder on my Discord server. So if you want to get started, it's all right there. You just download everything and create a random ROM on this website, and you're good to go. It's a lot of fun, but it's also the most frustrating thing I've ever done.
So mine's gonna be kind of freaking random, really. Lately is kind of subjective here. Lately being the past 3 days would be where this specific game kind of falls into place. Oddly enough, Guitar Hero 3 of all things.
Oh, that was a good game.
And the reason being, one of my best friends, for whatever reason, decided to get it and just pulled out his old PlayStation 2 and controller. Was like, hey, man, you just want to play? And for anyone who doesn't know, my best friend is also, coincidentally, my brother-in-law. My wife's sister is his wife. So we...
Excuse me while I tear up this paper that says Jay and Matt BFFs. Holy cow.
Sorry, let me rip this.
Words hurt, Matthew.
Let me rip this tattoo off. But we met together this past weekend because my wife's family was in town, and just all of us pretty much all day we're just passing a controller and just playing song after song after song.
Nice.
And I feel semi bad to a certain extent because the best one out of all of them can play on a hard medium song or a really easy hard song, if that makes sense, of the categories.
Yep.
Whereas me and a few of my friends were growing up when we played in high school, we all played on expert, so we were those that like we'd pick any song, just go for it.
Yep.
Now, I was a little disappointed in myself because back in the day in high school, I could do Through the Fire and the Flames at like, I want to say 85% on expert.
That's pretty good.
And now
I could do that song just fine, except the introduction. I couldn't get past the, like, if I could get past the opening, and my friend had that trick where you put the rubber band around the green button. But after that, I was fine. I could do the rest of the song with very little problem, but just like that one part was just the worst.
it is, and it's really fast, and there's a lot of just ridiculousness, but
Well, I mean, it's 30-second notes at like 160 beats per minute or something like that. It's crazy fast.
they might even be 64, so I'd have to go back and look. But you know, this week I can only get 75% as high as I could get this week, so not quite as good as I used to be. But I could still pass it, so you know I was okay with that. So oddly enough, been playing that a lot lately. Outside of that, man, I don't think since the day that Bloodborne came out and/or Dark Souls 3, I don't think there has been a month that's gone by to where at some point in time in that month I haven't played those games. And you know, there are times just like anyone else with any games, like there are times where like a day may go by that I'm not in the mood for that game specifically, but it always comes back, like no matter what. And I've lost count of how many times I've beaten those games. I've gotten to where, which this won't mean anything to Jay because he hasn't played Bloodborne yet, but I can speed run and beat the second boss of Bloodborne in like 7 minutes, I think. And I know the world record's right at 6.5, so like it's close. fairly close. I know 30 seconds is a lot when you're talking about records, so it's not really that close, but it feels close visually, dang it. So that's what I've been doing. Now, as far as the worst game I've played this year, I still think it's an amazing game, but Neo would probably be on the bottom of my list. With Neo, you know, I feel kind of bad to call it the weak game, but I think it hurts worse that everything in it is so amazing, but the world engine, and that's what makes it kind of sting a little bit, because that's like a really crucial part for the game to be good throughout. You know, the problem is the game's amazing when you start it, and then you just slowly but surely get tired of monotony because nothing is changing. You're just doing the same thing.
Do you
over
feel
and over.
Do you feel like you would like the game more if you had never played a Souls game?
Nope.
Okay. So it's not that it doesn't live up to what Dark Souls is, it's that there's something wrong with it at the core.
I don't like the fact that it is literally, it goes to a map, it gives you like 8 different places to pick from. There's no sequential order. It literally doesn't matter which one you pick. There's no benefit to picking one before the other.
Do you ever get like brick walled? Like, do you like get halfway through a part and it's like, nope, you can't do this yet. You lack the requirements or something like that, and so you have to be like, oh, I wonder what I need, and go do something else, or
Nope.
it literally doesn't matter?
Nope.
That is kind of boring.
They recycle bosses. They recycle maps.
Good.
They will, like, one map, like this was when I started getting a little frustrated with it, to where you did this level and then you beat it, then it just goes back to the map. It's all right, here's some different ones to pick from. Clicked one, you go in and do it, and it's the same map, and the only difference is everything is on fire. That was it. And like it didn't give you any storyline or anything. You just clicked on the map. So I was like, why is everything on fire?
Who knows?
And why am I back to the same place?
Some enemies, defeat them.
And you know, the whole like story is kind of just taking a back seat to everything. Like, it's there, but the way they make you traverse everything, like, you're not getting it as it goes. Only time you get stories and cutscenes, and that's it. So it's kind of frustrating, and the combat system's so freaking good. Like, it's stupid good at how amazing that freaking combat system is, and they had to fail on the world engine.
Right.
Because you can have the same sword, and you have 3 modes for every weapon, and that is high, medium, and low, and that's just literally changing how you swing the weapon.
That's nice.
And that, like, you have all the combos, and then you can just change how you're holding it, either high, at a medium stance, or at a low stance. And you can change that inside your combos. And it's just this really cool, fluid way of fighting in a very interesting method. So they did so many things right, and then so many things wrong. So it was kind of disheartening.
Yeah, at the end of the day, we kind of struggled with this question a bit, because we don't play bad games that much. We tend to kind of avoid them. You know, I don't know about you, Matt, but I don't have the disposable income to be like, oh, I don't know a whole lot about this game, I'll buy it and hope it's good. Like,
Yep.
I kind of get games kind of already knowing they're going to be a mild success.
I can tell you, I'm not going to buy Assassin's Creed Origins, even though it looks amazing. I'm not going to buy it for quite a while when it comes out, just because of the history, like we talked about in the couple episodes. Like, it's just, there's too much room for error there.
We've been hurt before, Ubisoft.
Yeah, so like, I want to, but I don't have a lot of money, so I was just like, sorry. I have to save that for ones that I know I'm gonna, like, if a Dark Souls 4 comes out, sure. Like, I don't even have to think about it.
Half-Life 3? Yep, on it.
Man, that one would be scary.
It's never going to happen. I'm convinced.
No.
I've been saying this for years, but there will never be a Half-Life 3. Mark my words.
It could be the best game you've ever played, and it would still not live up to the hype.
Exactly. And that's why there will never be a Half-Life 3.
Yep.
Because it can't be anything but disappointing.
Exactly. But that's our answer to that one. So moving on to another one, and this is another thing that Jay kind of brought up, and it was a very annoying situation, and kind of spitball this and talk about our thoughts on this. The current state of YouTube and the direction it's heading, and some of the things it's done recently, and what Jay has coined the phrase as the adpocalypse.
Oh, no. I have not coined that phrase. Every YouTuber under the sun, especially those that make their living off of YouTube, have
Probably called it that. Well, you were the one who introduced it to me, so I give it credit to you for giving it to me, if nothing else.
Read Twitter now and then, dude. That's been everywhere for like half a year to a year now.
Anyway, so Jay, give them the rundown. If you're just for whatever reason don't know what this is, Jay, go ahead and give them the rundown as if no one would know.
All right, so basically, the way a full-time or even a part-time YouTuber makes money, anyone makes money off of a YouTube video, is other companies like Full Sail University or Toyota or whatever pays YouTube for ad space, and YouTube is like, cool, we're gonna play these ads at the beginning or in the middle or at the end, wherever they get put of these videos, and then the people who make those videos, you know, whatever channel you're watching, will earn some of that ad revenue if they're a YouTube partner and have AdSense or something like that, or they're partnered with an MCN, which are slowly becoming extinct, but it's neither here nor there. But basically, from what I understand, a lot of these advertisers kind of don't like their ads being on videos with questionable content in it, and so YouTube was like, all right, well, we'll just create new monetization standards. So basically, the standards they came up with is your video has to be unquestionably viewable to a 5-year-old. And that's their language, not mine. And so anything with strong language in it, or violence, or any adult themes, or anything like that, will be hit with limited or no ads, which means that YouTubers are either making significantly less money or no money. And people feel very differently about this. You know, I know people out there that like, well, YouTube's not a real job. It never was. They've kind of been enjoying it for so long now, but, you know, now they have to go out there and get real jobs. And I respectfully disagree. You know, they're, you know, if nothing else, you know, comedians or producers, or, you know, they're making short films or whatever, like just like Hollywood or, you know, a regular comedian would, but just on a different or smaller scale, or even a bigger scale sometimes. And it's harder and harder for them to make money these days, to the point where a lot of YouTubers are jumping ship, and they're, you know, either hosting their videos on their own website, which draws in traffic through ads a different way, or if they're gamers, they're going to Twitch full time, or like 3/4 time, or they're, you know, I've seen a lot more Patreons these days. Other ways.
I would love to see a sheet of like some records of how many people YouTube has lost to Twitch over the past
year. It's been crazy. And like, even Let's Players I watch, I don't really watch that many anymore because I just don't have time. I'd rather play games, but like, a lot of them, you know, used to do Let's Plays content 7 days a week, and now they do like 2 days a week, and they spend 5 streaming or something like that, or even 2 or 3 days streaming, because honestly, you can make, if you have a big enough audience, you can make way more money on Twitch than you can on YouTube these days.
Way more.
Yeah.
Like I'm not sure what exactly YouTube's doing.
Yeah, and it comes down to like, a lot of people like to scream at YouTube, and they're like, oh, YouTube only cares about YouTube, and that is 100% unequivocally true. But like, at the end of the day, all of the way YouTube makes its money is through these ads as well. And if the ads are saying, look, we don't want to pay you for these ads, for this ad space, then they kind of have to bend to that whim, you know?
Mm-hmm. Don't have much of a choice, but I mean, even still, like, I don't see any way that this can be because, you know, no matter what happens in an industry like this, every move that they make has to be, at least in their mind, a good strategic move for moving forward business-wise.
Right.
To some extent. Like, it has to be. Like, they would never make that move just because, you know, ads said we had to. Like, there had to be some sort of value in it for them in their mind. It may not have, like, ended up that way, but they had to have seen some sort of value to go that way, and I'm not really sure what they were seeing. I'm really not, because like even if you didn't know anything about it, you're just looking at it like, where exactly is this going to benefit YouTube's profit margins? Because like all it's doing is pushing away its YouTube's content creators, which is going to give less videos for ads to come to, which is going to give less videos for viewers to watch, which is going to give less money for YouTube to get from ads.
Well, that's why YouTube is really pushing YouTube Red these days.
They have to.
Yeah, because YouTube Red is a paid service. I forget, what is it, $10 or $15 a month? Do you know?
I don't even think it's 15. It might be less than that.
Yeah, so it's somewhere in that margin. It's. I mean, to me, it's not worth it, if I have to be 100% completely honest with you. What you get from YouTube Red is you don't get ads anymore. Ads don't really bother me. They never have. I got to be honest with you. But
they don't bother me. I do, and you might have been about to say it. I do like that you can close out the YouTube app on your phone and it'll still be going.
Yes, that is very good. I do like that a lot. I mean, quite frankly, that should be a feature anyway, but
Yep.
because it never was, like, if it was a feature and they're like, oh, but now you have to have YouTube Red to do it, that would be a dick move. But because it never was a feature and now it's locked behind YouTube Red, it's technically okay, but I still don't like it. And this is coming from someone who has YouTube Red, by the way. I have YouTube Red because it comes with YouTube TV, which is the other half of things. Is you're seeing YouTube pushing a lot different things. You know, it used to just be a video publishing site. And now it's, you know, that plus, you know, they're creating their own, YouTube is creating its own content with YouTube Red, which all of the shows are terrible.
Two burps on the stream today from Jay.
Root beer does that to me. But like, the shows are terrible. I've watched, I don't know, the first episode of 3 or 4 of them, and there was one that I didn't hate, and that's it. And it's the new one that just came out with the Game Grumps. It's a good game. I gotta be honest with you, like, I love Dan Harmon. I do. But I don't love this show. It's okay. It's good. But for those of you who don't have YouTube Red and you're like, I'm missing it, you're not.
No, like,
you're not.
If you're like Jay, to where it just comes with YouTube TV, that's great.
Yeah,
like
no, I
me,
would not have it otherwise.
If you're like me, to where I just took advantage of, they were doing a promotion where you get it for 3 months for free, then, you know, just riding it while I can. I'll probably get rid of it the second that's not free, because it's not like, it's great features and I love being able to not have it open and listen to stuff at the same time, but it's just not worth paying $15 a month.
No, it's not worth
just
it
for
at
that
all.
feature. Like I will just deal with the ads and, you know, keep my phone open and just put it in my pocket or something.
Yeah, God forbid, right?
Right. Like it's not that hard of a thing to work around. It's just a little bit annoying because, you know, you're going to drain a little more of your battery and a few minor things, but it's really not that big of a thing to worry about. But it's just, it's very confusing as when you look at it from a business aspect, because, you know, as we said, YouTube's losing a lot of their content creators. I know Jay probably knows the same as me, but I know several that I've looked to that over the past years that have jumped ship and have moved over to Twitch, like Jay said.
Or something else, you know?
Yeah, but a good majority of them probably went to Twitch and then have their own websites or a few other things.
Yeah, and then there's also other people, like, I don't know, one of my favorite channels I used to watch in the earlier days of YouTube was Freddie Wong. The dude makes amazing short films, and he has his own studio, Rocket Jump Studio, and at this point, like, I don't know when the last time they uploaded a video to their channel was, because they just work for Hulu at this point. You know?
Ugh. But it's a weird move, and, you know, I don't want to hit YouTube like over the head with a bunch of bricks too hard, because I want to give them just a slight amount of leniency, because it is a unprecedented situation, because YouTube's still young, in all fairness, as far as businesses go.
Yeah, 12 years.
As far as businesses this size, and to get there that quick.
True.
From where they came.
Well, I mean, but they're owned by Google.
They are, and like, I'm not saying it's an excuse. I'm just saying I'm trying to give them just a tad bit, because they have nothing to compare to. They don't.
That is your solid point. They are kind of pioneers.
Yeah, they have no real side by side comparisons. They can say, hey, what is some business that, doing the same things we did that we can say, hey, that might look good. They don't have that. There's not really. I mean, you might be able to try to look at Twitch, but they're different entities.
Well, Twitch is even younger.
Right, and it's not the same because Twitch is just simply a streaming service. It doesn't necessarily host the way like YouTube is pretty much his own animal. Yeah, as far as anything is concerned. So I feel kind of bad for them in that sense. It's not excusable. They're hosted by Google. They should be able to figure it out. But I in the back of my mind somewhere, I try to be just a little less harsh with it sometimes. Because I do. Like, if I were in that situation, I probably wouldn't know what the frick to do.
I don't know, it's easy, and YouTube's never been good about communicating things with their content creators. And there's a good reason for that, because that way you can't game the system. If YouTube said this is the best way to make money off of your videos, then people would just do that. And they would create probably subpar content just to make money. Or they would abuse the algorithm in some way, shape, or form. The all-knowing algorithm that everyone loves to hate. And so, okay, so there's a good reason that they kind of play things inside baseball, But they, with this, you have to believe that YouTube ultimately knows what they're doing down the road. That even though things kind of suck right now for the content creators, and maybe even YouTube is hurting. I don't know. They don't share these things, and not that I really look for it either. You have to just know that they have a plan, that things are going to work out, and that they just really, really suck, and I hate them so much.
Speaking of that, we just for future viewers, whenever we move on to season 3. And any past viewers, or I guess non-viewers at the time, which is going to be a little weird because we'll be talking about it now and you'll be hearing about it. But anyways, we're looking into getting this series on iTunes so that a lot of people can have that as an outlet to listen to.
What is this we you're talking about? I haven't done anything about that.
He hasn't done anything. I was trying to include you.
Thanks for including me, man. I really feel like a part of the team. For those of you who don't know, I do nothing with this series. I show up and burp into the microphone, and Matt does all the editing. He hosts it on his channel. He does everything. So shout outs to Matt Lane for doing all of the work, because I don't do it. I do a fair amount of the prep work, I guess. I came up with this list of questions and organized it all or whatever, but Matt does that too. So,
which I'm thankful for that, because there are some days where he does it and I'm like, oh, good, he did it now. I don't have to. So it's a give and take, but I don't mind doing it because I'm the one that decided to do it anyway. So it'd be kind of douchey to be like, hey, I want to do the series. Okay, cool. All right, you do everything.
And when we were first publishing this, he was like, do you want to put it on your channel too? And I was like, I don't know. I don't do any of the work. And then we're just splitting the audience at that point. And I don't know about you, but I monetize my videos, so I actually make money off of YouTube. And I've noticed that I've made much, much less recently than I used to. So it's even affecting me. Not that I really do anything with that money. It's literally just dollars in my pocket, but
I don't really monetize any of it anymore. I don't care. It's not why I'm doing it. We tried to monetize a good bit in season 1, and that was back when we were using video clips for what we were talking about. And it just kept getting flagged for copyright over and over and over.
Oh, yeah, those cutscenes are killer.
Yeah, I got tired of it. So, and that's kind of why I really dropped even worrying about it in this one, because I just got tired of dealing with it. So I was like, it's a podcast anyways, we're talking about. But anyways, exactly. So we're looking at, getting it on iTunes to where you have that as a real podcast to listen to where you have this format to where if you don't have YouTube Red or something, you could easily listen to it without having your phone even open. You could hit play and then close it.
Yep.
Kind of thing. And I do not think that would mean that we would stop to put it on YouTube. I'm pretty sure we'll keep doing that.
Because it's such a convenient place for the audience we already have.
Right. We are going to switch, and Jay probably didn't even know this yet, but I'm just going to continue saying we just because it is a, a co-podcast.
I had a lot to do with this decision.
We are going to take it off of SoundCloud because they have a limit, so I can't even get all the episodes on there at a time without paying.
Didn't
and
even know
monthly
you were
service.
still putting it on SoundCloud.
That's just Jay not reading the description of the videos, because in every description it says, hey, if you want to listen to it on SoundCloud, here's a link.
Dude, I don't remember when the last time I read the description of any video was, dude. Because the
you
way
go.
I watch videos, I don't really watch YouTube anymore. I listen to YouTube. I pull it up on my
right.
phone at work and,
And
close
I
it
figured
out.
most people are that way, but that being said, that I think this would be a better outlet probably to give people an option. I think we'll still obviously put it here, and if you have anywhere else that if you're a person that listens to these all the time and you have places that you listen to podcasts and you was like, hey, this would be a cool place that I would like to listen to these, let us know and we'll look into it. Now, if it's something that's
Sorry.
go ahead. I was gonna say if it's something that costs money, then probably not. But iTunes does not cost anything to do it. They do have a bit of an annoying process that I'm having to deal with right now. I've been looking into it for the past couple of weeks and hitting a few roadblocks, but we're gonna get there. They will be coming out before. My goal is before season 3 even starts to have these on iTunes.
May I suggest a platform?
Sure.
www.myspace.com.
Dot what?
myspace.com.
No. Why would you dare?
I just discovered this website the other day. There's a lot of good stuff on this place.
Did you just say you just discovered MySpace?
Yeah.
Like from like late 90s, early thousands MySpace?
No, it was like a week ago.
You do know MySpace was a thing around the same time Facebook came out, right?
No.
I can't tell if you're messing with me right now. I really can't.
It's MySpace. It's not Facebook, Matt. It's different. It's Facebook is Mark Zuckerberg. MySpace is Justin Timberlake.
Okay, yeah, I think he's messing with me now.
I'm messing with you.
Sometimes I can't. I feel like most of the time I have good JDAR, but that
Never
time
heard that term before. That's amazing.
How have you not heard that?
I don't know, dude. I've gone 27 years of my life and no one's ever used that term
Like
before.
you just anything. Okay, anyways, that's actually going to be it for today's episode, guys.
I quit.
Jay quit, so it might just be me on season 3. But I really appreciate everyone sticking around. It means a lot. It's a ton of fun doing these things. I know Jay feels the exact same way. Be on the lookout for these to go to iTunes. That's kind of irrelevant if you're already listening to these on iTunes, because you'll be hearing this and then like, hey, I've already listened to 20 episodes this way.
Way
So
to
that might be
date the
kind of-
video.
Right. Well, if they're on iTunes, they've already listened to 20 episodes, and then they're hearing about this episode saying, hey, we're about to be on iTunes.
All right,
Wait,
wrap
you've
it
already
up.
been.
Wrap it up, John Wayne. Let's go.
All right, but thank you for watching. It's been a great season 2, as Jay says, and I look forward to season 3. And it means a lot. Jay, do you have any closing remarks?
No, I mean, just check MySpace out for any future updates. We don't have a page there yet. We're working on it, but it'll be there. And also, for real, if you miss us, if you miss this goofiness, or at least half of it, then you just check the streams, twitch.tv/LetsJays. I'm there at least 2 or 3 times a week usually, but as the fall kicks off, it might be less. I don't know.
Right. But as always, we have a ton of fun doing these things, and we look forward to doing the next one.
Here's
I
to
don't know
not dying in the hurricane.
Hopefully not. I don't know how long of a break will take. I don't think it'll be an incredibly long one.
I
but
don't see it being as long as the last one was.
Definitely not, but I don't want to give a date and it be wrong. So just be on the lookout. Both of us are, Jay more so than I, but both of us are active on Twitter, and we'll make it known whenever we're coming back to give you a heads up. And then hopefully we'll have the whole iTunes thing settled out. And yeah, I mean, again, I look really forward to doing it. This is like one of the highlights of my week. A lot of times is just getting on here and just literally just jabbering to no extent with Jay.
I had fun.
Jay has fun occasionally, usually. A lot of times he'll throw stuff at me all the way from Boston.
Yeah, I'm still waiting on that baseball to come out of orbit and hit you in the head, but we'll get there.
I'm still waiting on the Frosty. I think it froze.
It froze in the stratosphere, dude.
It froze in the stratosphere. But yeah, thank everybody. I know we said it a million times this episode, but thank you for listening and stopping by. and we will see y'all soon.
I mean, like, not literally, but like,
Figuratively.
yeah, we will let you listen to our voices soon.
We will not see you in space or Jupiter.
Mars is still on the books, though. They're booking agents. I'm done. I'm sorry. I'm done.